Hey everyone, it's Shelby here. Welcome back to A Little Literary Love. Glad you're with me. Yes, I am doing that whole hot girl trend of wearing a baseball cap because I'm having a bad hair day. I need to wash my hair, but I just don't feel like it right now. And I wanted to film, so had it is. Hi. Yes, so today I'm super excited because I'm going to be sharing some book recs with you all. And I'm going to be talking about forced proximity, which is one of my favorite tropes in books. If there is a forced proximity trope in a book, I gravitate towards it and I'm going to want to read it. I love when two characters are just forced together in this situation and they just have to constantly keep seeing each other, and then in doing so they start to like have feelings for each other. I eat it up. I need more of it. So before I even get to all of my recs that I have in this video, if you have recs for forced proximity books, please leave a comment down below because I need all of them in my life. But now, before we get into the book recs, please make sure to subscribe if you like my content, if you like my channel. If you like this video, make sure you're hitting that thumbs up button. I'm trying really hard to get to 1,000 subscribers this year. I really think I can do it. I'm up to 900 something, only like less than 100 to go. Like, I'm so close. I really think I can do it this year, but I can only do that with the help of you all. So I very much appreciate you all helping out a small YouTuber. So let's get into all these books. I think all of these are great, obviously, because I would, if I didn't think they were great, I wouldn't write them for you. There's a mix of different types of romances in here. I have an omegaverse, I have novellas, I have full-length novels. There's some dark ones in here. There's some lighter ones. There's a fantasy romance. There's just a whole shebang, whole different things, all kinds of different romance. So whatever your genre or subgenre of romance is, I think I got you covered here. So, enough of my rambling. We're going to get into all these recs. First one is going to be Hold by Claire Kent. This is the first of a series. I have not read the rest of the books of the series. I really need to. But this is like a futuristic, post-apocalyptic esque world where any crime that is committed, no matter how small, if you commit a crime, you get sentenced and sent to a prison planet. So our female main character, she commits a small crime. She's sent to this prison planet. And on this planet, like, people aren't separated out. Like, she's in with a bunch of other like men. I don't think it's necessarily separated out by like the type of crime that you do. I could be wrong on this. It's been quite a bit since I've read this one. So she's mixed in with some really, really bad people. So the best way that she knows, an officer that is dropping her off tells her the best way that you can survive is to find some big man that can protect you, and just partner with that person. So she finds this loner male main character, and she offers herself to him in order for protection. So he doesn't take up the offer for her body just yet, but they do end up sharing a cell together because he will keep her safe from the other prisoners that might want to do her harm. So with them like sharing a cell, which, if you can imagine, like a normal like prison cell is not that spacious. So definitely forced together, very close quarters. And since he's trying to help her survive and she's just trying to survive, they end up forming romance with that. So definitely recommend this one. Then I have Heat Haven by Sarah Blue. This is the first book of her, I think it's the Heat Haven series. This is an omegaverse story. I believe this is Sarah Blue's first story, and I think it's honestly a really great starter for omegaverse as well. It explains omegaverse very well if you're new to omegaverse. But this one is our female character. She is an omega. She is by herself, and she knows she's going to be going into a heat soon, and she wants to be protected. So in this world of the Heat Haven universe that Sarah Blue created, there are these centers called heat havens where Omegas can go to. They can book an appointment and book to have their heat at this place without having to take suppressants, which is like a medication that they can take to kind of suppress their heat. But it can also still be kind of painful and lonely. Or they can go to this place. They can go through a roster of different alphas and betas that have offered their services, and pick out which ones they want. They can pick out their room to have their heat in. There's also somebody that monitors the whole process of the heat to make sure that the Omega is safe. So she elects to do this for her heat. And when she's going to the heat haven place and she's touring and she's going to pick out like what room she wants to use, she ends up getting, she's on an elevator with an alpha that she thinks is really attractive, and the elevator breaks down. So this is where that forced proximity kind of comes into the play in this story. Overall, the rest of the story doesn't have a ton of forced proximity to it, but I love that whole getting stuck together in some kind of situation. So they get stuck together in an elevator. She's freaking out about getting stuck, and he helps to like soothe her and calm her down and tell her, you know, that everything's going to be okay. So of course she ends up picking him as one of her like suitors to help her through her heat because he made her feel safe. And I just eat that stuff up. Sarah Blue does have another romance that is coming out, which, I mean, it's not out yet by the time I post this video. Well, actually, by the time I post this video, it might be out yet already. I'm not exactly sure. I can't remember when it comes out, but I know it's in March. She has another omegaverse story coming out where an Omega goes into heat on a plane. And that just sounds right up my alley because it's exact forced proximity that I love. Can't wait to get to that one. So that is a forced proximity book that is on my TBR. So I can't wait to check that one. Then I have Chilled and Thrilled by Cleo White. This is a novella, takes place over the holiday season. This one is about our female main character. She works for her best friend's dad. They work really closely together. I believe it's at an architecture firm. And it's about to be the holiday season. They are the last ones at work and they are leaving and they get caught up in a snowstorm and she ends up tripping and falling. So he takes her to the ER, but her place ends up being, after they go to the ER trip, her place is a little bit too far away. He's closer. So he takes her back to his place. And they, of course, end up getting snowed in together at his house. Again, a classic forced proximity kind of situation that has been created here. I have a few other snowed in scenarios on this list as well. So they get snowed in together at his house. They both have the hots for each other, and they've had the hots for each other for a while, but because, number one, they work together, they haven't acted on it. And also because there's such a big age gap, she is best friends with his daughter. So it's very forbidden, taboo. They know they're not supposed to be together, but they decide to give in to their desires while they are at his place. And it's just a great, sexy, fun time. I loved this story, and I can't wait to read more from this author. Then we have the Horde King of Shadow by Zoe Draven. So this one is a fantasy romance, and the forced proximity aspect of this romance is a little bit more on the minimal side. Our female main character, she is the bastard daughter of the king, and then we have the ruler, the leader, what have you, of this like rival group that has dragons that has come in. He notices that she has a mark of his dragon, and she also has all these different dreams about dragons and heartstones, which is the like the kind of like the life force of where magic comes from. So those are like dying out. So he needs her to help him try to find more heartstones so that magic doesn't die out altogether. So he forces her into an arranged marriage with him, saying like, hey, if you don't marry me, I'm going to kill all of your people. Great start to a relationship, gotta say. So of course she agrees to marry him. And where the forced proximity aspect of this comes in is because when they get married, like with his kingdom, like his marriage is like a really big deal. So of course she ends up staying at his home and they end up sharing a bedroom together. And for his people, they have to make it seem like they're actually like this is a legit marriage. So that's where the little bit of the forced proximity comes into with this story. It's very good. I loved them getting to know each other. There's also dragons, which I mean, enough said with that. Like, am I right? Like dragons, and she gets to learn how to ride a dragon. It's fabulous. Definitely check this out. You do also, this takes place in the same world as her Horde Kings series that she has, but it's like way, 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 way later. So you do not have to have read any of the prior books that she has written to be able to read this one. Totally enjoyed it without having read any of those. Then we get to Passenger Princess, which I actually have on the shelves behind me, but I'm just too lazy to grab it. This is the first book of her Evergreen Park series, which is now a complete trilogy. The last one just came out and it was fabulous. So this one is, if I didn't say, this is by Morgan Elizabeth. This one is about our female main character. She has just won a beauty pageant. She is Miss Americana, and she entered into this pageant on a whim to help out her friends and their businesses and get more notoriety and drudge up a little bit more business for her friends. So she's like, I'm going to enter this pageant and I'm going to help y'all out. And she wins. So now that she is Miss Americana, she is supposed to be touring the country, finding different woman-owned small businesses that she can highlight and bring attention to. And on her trip, the pageant has hired a bodyguard for her. And this is where the forced proximity comes in, because these two characters are in a car together, road tripping across the country together. They, at the beginning, do have separate hotel rooms, but then later on, they end up getting the same hotel room because there's some things that keep happening, and he wants to make sure that she stays safe. So they're in a car together for hours upon hours upon hours. So, of course, they're going to have a romance together and they are going to bang. There's also Grumpy Sunshine in this one. She definitely pushes all of his buttons and gets on his everlast nerve, but he also kind of loves it that she does that to him. And it's just such a fun read. I loved how independent she is and takes no crap. And she's like, I'm just going to be who I am. I don't give a fuck about what anybody else thinks about me. I'm just going to do me. And I love that so much. Morgan Elizabeth also has the best, and when I say best, I mean best book boyfriends. I eat them up. They know how to treat our female characters right. They really do. Then I have X's and O's by Kayla Gross. This is another snowed in forced proximity romance. We have one of our male main characters in this one. This is an MMF story. He is heading home to his family for the holidays. It is snowing. His car gets stopped and he gets stuck in the snowstorm, and he gets rescued by this married couple who are lumber snacks. And they take him back to their house. And of course, like, the snow just keeps getting worse and worse and he can't leave. And then he finds out that this married couple is actually wanting a third, and they are wanting to be in a throuple relationship with someone, but they just haven't found that special person that they think could complete their relationship. But they think that they're both really attracted to him, and they think that maybe this guy might be it. So they are willing to give it a go with him. And they kind of, I would say they ease him into it, but honestly, it happens really, really quick. This one is a very steamy story. It does actually have a good plot to it, and there is some really good character development in it, but I would say like 70% of this is smut, and it's just a great sexy time, and I definitely recommend checking it out. Then we have A Dance Macabre by Naomi. This is the first book of her Perverse City series. This is definitely a dark romance, okay? Both of our main characters are morally black. They are not good characters. In this world, the town is ruled by this ruling class, and they all worship these different gods. And these gods are basically just wanting to kill people. That's all they want. There, like I said, there are no good people in this story. And so our two main characters of the story, it's about time for a new leader to arise, for the gods to pick a new leader. And both of our main characters are vying for that leader spot. So one of them ends up getting picked, and the other one gets pissed off about this and tries to sabotage it. And so in retaliation, the gods say, whoa, 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 whoa. Let's make both of you have to work together and be co-rulers. So these two characters, they do not like this because they absolutely loathe each other. Absolutely despise them, cannot stand to be around one another, but now they have to co-rule this city. And in order to co-rule, they also have to share like the leader's house in the city. They have to make all their decisions together about what's going to happen in the city. And so now they have to be around each other. So this is where that forced proximity aspect comes in, because they have to constantly be around one another. But they also find that even though they hate each other, they are also very attracted to one another. It's kind of like that, I hate how gorgeous she is kind of thing. Like, why does she have to be so freaking gorgeous? Or, I need to kiss her to show her or whatever. But it's just, and then it turns into such a like a sensual, a sexy, good time once they finally give in to their desires. And I just ate this up. I thought it was such a unique story, and I could not put this one down. The second book of this series also has a little bit of a forced proximity, only because the male main character kidnaps the female main character, but I felt like this one worked a little bit better for this forced proximity trope that I'm going for. Then we have Redemption by Wright. This one is a standalone dark romance. It is mafia-esque. We have our female main character. She is a single mom, and she is on the run with her kids, trying to escape her ex, who is not a good person. And this is another snowed in romance. They end up getting snowed in and trapped. And they walk to this guy's cabin, and he takes them in. And he finds out about why she has been on the run. And so he decides that he is going to protect her and her children. Our male main character of this story, he is actually, this is kind of where it's like mafia-esque, because he is a widow, and he used to be in the mafia, but he left because his wife and child were killed. So this is a much darker romance, especially near the end. I was not expecting how dark this went. There is a lot of murder and gore that happens in this one. But it does give it its name. There is a big redemption that happens in here. So just kind of know that going in, that this is a very dark romance. So if you're not a big fan of dark romance, you might want to skip with this one. But I did really enjoy this. And like I said, they get snowed in together in this cabin. They're living in this guy's house. And so they just are constantly around each other. And of course, they fall in love. Who doesn't love that? I have two left for you. So then we have On the Care and Keeping of Orcs by Cass O'Shire. This is a monster romance. This one we have Kat. maybe. I might be making that up. We have our family main character. She is wanting to help out her sister-in-law. Her sister-in-law's horses were stolen, so she is going to go get these horses for her sister-in-law, but she's not going to do it by herself. Her sister-in-law employs the help of our orc male main character, whom our female main character has had a crush on for the longest time. I believe he's also her brother's best friend, so we have that kind of like forbidden aspect going on there. And he was like in the orc army, so he's this like big badass kind of dude. Definitely can protect her while they're on this journey. And that's where the force proximity aspect comes in, because they are on this journey together. They have to tent together, so it has that only one tent trope instead of like the only one bed. It also has a only one horse scenario, so they end up having to share a horse. And in the midst of going on this journey to get these horses back, they of course give in to their large desires and attraction for one another. And I just think this was absolutely fabulous. Who doesn't love a big green beefy orc dude that also has some piercings on a certain appendage that make for some great sexy times? You know. And then with the last book that I have to recommend is Hills of Shiver and Shadows by Pam Godwin. This is another very, very dark book. It also leaves on a cliffhanger. So know that going into it. This is a big chunker of a book. This is the first book of a trilogy. Each book ends on a cliffhanger, so just save some time knowing that you're going to have to dive into 3 books. Okay, that's just how it is. This one starts off with our female main character in the very first chapter. She is kidnapped from her home, and she is taken to this cabin in the middle of the Alaskan wilderness, and she is forced to live there with 4 men and play into their mind games, try to figure out who she can make alliances with to help her survive and get back home. So that is definitely it's kind of a snowed in but also captive situation, but also they're in the middle of absolutely bumfuck nowhere, and it's cold as all get out because it's somewhere in the Great North. So survival is a big thing on this one. I loved this story. I cannot wait. There is a spin-off story that will be coming out, I believe, this summer. I'm dying for it. I am so ready. I'm so excited. So she's, like I said, in this one, forced proximity because she's just trapped with these guys and ends up forming romance with at least one of them. It is a white choose. You just don't know yet whom of these people she ends up forming the white choose romance with. But it was so good. I absolutely adored it. But yes, that is going to be all of my recommendations. Went out at the very end of that video. But now that we are at the end of the video, please make sure that you comment down below with some of your favorite forced proximity romances, because I want to hear about all of them. I need all of the forced proximity romances in my life. Please and thank you. But now that we are at the end, you should see a few things pop up here to go to my channel, maybe subscribe, also to check out another one of my videos if you would like for your perusal. But that is going to be it, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye, guys.